How's it going, everyone? It's GadgetsBoy. Welcome to another video. In this one, we are sat right now driving the new Smart #1. I know the name sounds a bit funny, but this spells a new beginning in some sort of way for Smart, because this is not Smart as we know it. So, you know, like your Smart 4.2, your Smart 4.4. It's not that sort of Smart as we know it. So this is a collaboration between Smart and Geely. He also owns Volvo. They own Zeekr, which we reviewed Zeekr not too long ago, so do check that video out, because it's based on the same platform, that SCA platform. So it means that it's a bespoke platform, which allows them to be able to do different things to it. You know, they can make a car like this using that same platform, which is pretty good. I haven't driven the Zeekr 001. It actually is a really lovely car, so I have nothing bad to say about the platform at all. But that aside though, let's talk about this car, starting with the design. The design itself looks very good. I love this color. It comes in this sort of like lime green or slash a yellow, sort of bright yellow color. That's one of the safety system here, which is safety alert, fatigue alarm, if I could say it properly, because I was kind of hitting the white lines on here. But back to the car, the design is lovely. I love what they've done with the car. It's a compact SUV, although it has a taller stance, and it looks really good. Almost like an SUV really, because it's quite tall off the ground. It's sitting on 19-inch alloys. We look at the front of the car, it looks really good as well in terms of the headlights, the way it goes across the front of the car. And it has this welcome lights as well, which you can adjust the settings for that and select different type of welcome lights to go with that if you wish to do so. Looking at the side, we have that nice crease on the side. We've got all the black cladding on the wheel arches as well, which gives it that sort of rugged SUV look, which is not a bad thing. It's really good. It looks really smart on the road, which I quite like. And then moving on to the back, we have that tail light that goes all across the back of the car with that bar, that tail light bar, which can also be adjusted as well. It gives you that nice animated light, which looks really good. Actually, you can't change the animation on the back, as far as I know, as far as I'm aware, in the settings on the infotainment system. So I take that back, but it looks good regardless. The boot space offers around 421 litres, depending on which one you go for. So we have the Pro Plus version, the premium version, which is the flagship trim level, and also the Brabus, which they've come together. If you know these guys in terms of Smart, they always collaborate with Brabus to bring you that sportier version of their vehicle, which is sharper, offers a bit more speed. I leave all stats on the screen so you know exact numbers. It's a bit faster off the line and all that kind of stuff. But if you go for the premium and the Brabus version, you lose a bit of boot space, which goes down to 411 litres of boot space, because they put that extra subwoofer sound system in there. We have a Bose sound system in here, which is 640 watts sound system in here, so that's where you lose out on a bit of space. But you can fold the seat down to get a bit more space out of it, which is a bonus. I think it's a 60-40 split in terms of the rear seat, in terms of the layout of the rear seat. It's got front as well, which means you can take all those charging cables and fold them nicely, stick them in the front, so that way you can maximize the boot space on the back. If we lift up the boot space as well, there's also a little cubby hole down there as well, which means you can even store your cable there. If you don't want to put it in the front, you can put extra stuff in there as well. So stuff that you don't need to take out the car that often, you can stick them in there. The tailgate itself is electronically controlled, and you can also, use motion as well. So just sweep your feet underneath around the tailgates, and the boot will open itself. The boot lid will open. So that way, if you've got stuff that you're carrying, like shopping and all that kind of stuff, you can just use your feet. If you got your hands full, you can use your feet to get in the boot, which is a bonus to have inside of this car. Based on this premium level, again, I'll leave all stats on the screen so you can do some sort of comparison and see how they compare fully well. But even the base level gives you some really cool kits in there, like head-up display. This version here will give you head-up display. It will give you some nice ADAS system in terms of safety, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look at the back seat when we get inside of the car. So the back seat itself has plenty of room. Obviously, there's no transmission tunnel, so you can easily move around the back seat. You can fit someone in the middle seat as well. And there's plenty of knee room, there's plenty of headroom. We also get a panoramic sunroof that goes all the way to the back, goes across the roof, which is really good. Gives a sense of bigger space in here. But actually, the headroom is quite high up. So if you're tall, I'm 5'11". If you're taller than that, if you're 6 foot, you can sit in this comfortably well and not worry about it at all, even with my sitting position. So that works really well. On the back, you also get 2 charging points. So you got your full USB and a USB-C charge point. So again, that's great for those sat to the back who wants to charge their devices on the go, power their devices. We move to the front. The cabin here is very cozy, although it doesn't feel claustrophobic. I love the seats, nice leather finishing, it's very premium. I love the design of them, and it's just nice and very smart in here in terms of, when I say smart, not in terms of actual smart, but as a brand, it's very smart-like in terms of the way they've designed the interior. Even the Beats grille here, the light behind it lights up to do with ambient lighting, which you can change the settings and have different color configuration, different themes, all that kind of stuff. But what it can also do is react to when you're driving. So if you're for your lane departure, so if you're departing off your lane, for example, that will pick up and light red to let you know, wake up, it's danger time, that kind of stuff. The instrument cluster itself is around 9-inch horizontal, which gives you all the important information that you need to know, and it works really well. It's nice and sharp, nice and bright. I love the graphics as well in terms of icons, the way they're designed. I really like what they've done there. You can see your music playing, the speed, how much charge you got left in the car. You can see that on there. The steering wheel as well has few controls, including one to control the mirrors. So unfortunately, you can't actually control the mirror here without going into the infotainment system and controlling it from there. The infotainment screen is quite big. This is a 12.9-inch display, which is very big, very focused in the center of the display. And you've got a couple of buttons on the bottom as well. So for your climate control, and you've got one for your drive mode, which can go from eco to sports and comfort mode as well. So you can switch between those depending on how you're feeling, how you want to drive. And then we delve deeper into this. You got sat nav built in as always. It supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly. This will come by the time this is ready for the market via OTA, so over the air updates, so you'll be able to update it remotely. But it's very responsive. You can just mess around with it and play with it. It's very responsive. Here we have 2 USB-C ports. We have a wireless charging mat as well, which you can turn on or off if you don't want it off. If you don't want it on, you can turn it off. You've got cup holders here, space to store maybe a phone maybe, and then there's another big space back here, which is also has a feature that allows you to cool it. So if you've got cold drinks in there, you might want to cool your drinks. You can put them in there as well, which is really good. Visibility is very good in the car, so you can see all around the car very well. Really good, I like that. But back to the infotainment system, it's very responsive. You got 360-degree camera. When you indicate, you also get your blind spot warning as well. So you get blind spot camera, so you can see that on here. You can enlarge it, you can minimize it if you wish to do so. So basically with that 360-degree camera, you can see all around you. When you indicate, it shows you a blind spot camera as well, so for left and right, which is pretty neat. So you get a lot in here for what you're paying for it. So even in driver assistance settings, for example, you get a lot of options. We have quick control settings, which allows us to change the regen mode. So we can go from standard to strong, and strong basically means you can one pedal drive. You can change your tailgate settings, for example. Power steering settings go from light to medium to heavy. And then you got ambient lighting, which allows you to change the different themes and the colors of the ambient lighting in here. You got lighting settings for adaptive front lighting system, for example. If you're going to things like general, you can change your music settings, you can change your display settings and connectivity as well. But in driver assistance is where things get interesting, because you get a lot of safety options here. You got things like forward collision warning, you have rearward collision warning, you have rear cross traffic alert, you got door opening warning, lane departure warning as well, you got lane assist and parking emergency brake, which is pretty much standard nowadays. And then we also get assistance. Assistance settings means things like blind spot detection for visual and audio, automatic lane change assist, which is pretty cool, which means it automatically assists the driver to merge the vehicle into the adjacent lane according to indicated direction. That's pretty cool. For how much you pay for this, that's a lot of tech there. The automatic speed adjustment as well, speed limiter warning, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of safety options there as well, which is really good. And vehicle settings, so things like driver exhaustion alert, steering wheel set recentering, and vehicle control and comfort and stuff like that. So you can play around with this and see what you want. But I think generally it's very, very responsive, and I like what they've done with this. You got loads of tech on here, which I was quite surprised by. You're in for a treat basically if you were to get one of these. In terms of stats and how we drive, we have 0 to 62 in 6.7 seconds. If you get the Pro Plus and the Premium version, the Brabus will go to 3.9 seconds, which is insane. And then you got your range on there as well. So 260 miles WLTP on Pro Plus, 273 on the Premium, and 248 on the Brabus version. So the pricing difference is the Pro Plus is £35,950, Premium is 38,950, and Brabus is 43,450. So the price difference there for you have a 62 kilowatt hour battery, regardless of which one you go for. You got support for 150 kilowatts fast charge, unless you go for the Brabus, which gives you a bit more. And you got onboard charging, 7 kilowatts for the base. If you go up to Premium and so on, then you're looking at 22 kilowatt hour onboard charging, which is decent for you that you want to charge anywhere as we go. This also has a tow capacity of 1,600 kilograms, which is really good for such a small car. So how does it drive? It drives amazingly well in terms of being nimble and agile. You can just chuck it anywhere you want on the road. But when it comes to comfort though, this is where it's lacking, because you start to feel some of these speed bumps around the UK roads that I've been driving it today. You feel the speed bumps quite a lot, so it's not the most comfortable car out there when it comes to being forgiven when it comes to the speed bumps. So that's something to bear in mind. Power output, you're looking at 200 kilowatts for the Pro Plus and the Premium, and 315 for the Brabus. And for the 0 to 62 figures, you're looking at 6.7 seconds for the bottom two. And if you go for the Brabus, you're looking at 3.9 seconds. For the range, the base model, so the Pro Plus will give you 260 miles on the WLTP cycle. And this version here will give you 273, and the Brabus is 248. So you lose out in terms of the range if you go for the Brabus top range version. Regardless of which one you go for, they're all rocking 62 kilowatt hour battery. And in terms of charging, it all supports DC fast charge. You're looking at 150 kilowatt hour charging, which is decent. So you can charge this up. You can charge this up very quickly with no issues at all. Obviously, as this battery, torque matters as well. So the torque in this is about 343 Newton meters of torque, which is decent. I think for a car like this, that's not bad at all. You actually feel it when you put your foot down as well. In terms of the actual experience when you're driving on the road though, I think the issue for me is it's not that it's not agile, it's not that it's not nimble. You can chuck it around wherever you want. It feels like a go-kart almost. But where I start to feel some issues, where I have issues with it, is the comfort level. So when you start going over speed bumps and stuff, it's very stiff. It's very Tesla level of when you hit a speed bump or rough roads, it can feel every bump on the road, which can be quite annoying, especially on a long ride. And if it's meant for urban driving as well, it just means that you're going to feel this more when you're out and about, you take your kids to school, you go shopping, all that kind of stuff, especially on the UK roads. But besides that, I think this is an excellent car for the price point. It does lack some premium feel to it in terms of the plasticky element of the car, like the middle column here just doesn't feel very solid, doesn't feel very premium. But if you just put all that to the side and consider that this is actually built by two big companies that are good at what they do, Mercedes and Geely, then you can actually trust what you're buying and know that this is going to give you longevity, this is practical, this is good on range, it's good on fast charge, and it gives you the space that you need inside of your car as well. And they give you a really nice drive experience. I actually quite like it. So it's definitely one to consider in the sea of electric cars that we're getting in the UK recently. But over to you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions, drop them there as well. And if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe, smash the bell notification, and I shall see you guys in the next one.